This show is brought to you by Game Up Hard Hydration. It's like your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink got together, had a baby, but it's so much better. And Dave has those details down by heart.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Those are your flavors. And guys, it's only 110 calories per can. It's low carb. Enjoy yourself some Game Up. Now we're just kind of ripping a little bit here towards the end here. I would have to say too, talking about like WWE big debuts possibly tonight on Raw or SmackDown, returns, surprises, we get up to. And I keep thinking one of the things I'm also really enjoying going back to NXT and CW is this TNA relationship. Jordan Grace showing up, having open challenges now. And, Rosemary now becoming more a part of the weekly telecast, right? With Wendy Chu. So it's like, it's very Hammerstone showed up.
I was glad you brought up NXT because that was the one thing I saw when I saw Hammerstone come out against Obafemi.
Yeah.
No greater opponent you could put up against him. I almost hated that Hammerstone got beat what I felt too quickly.
Sure. I get that.
He's making that first splash in NXT. More people are getting to see him now than had before. So it's only like a move in the right direction. I was watching TNA and I saw Ariana Grace show up.
Yes.
And then she introduces Caden Carter,
yeah.
I believe, to go up against Jordan Grace. So you're seeing developing wrestlers being able to go on other shows. You're seeing big names get to go on other shows. And it's just been one of the highlights of 2024 for me, I think.
One other thing, too, I know there was a rumor on some site, might have been PW Mania. It wasn't anybody I recognized, and somebody else was quoting it. But there's a rumor that the Motor Machine Guns are signed to WWE, and they will be on that NXT CW debut. So I hope that's certainly the case. And think about this. Imagine if the Guns are coming to NXT. And what if we got the Lucha Brothers not too far around the corner, too?
That would be awesome. WWE's done a good job of like signing people and then not rushing to debut them. Not that their pacing for signing people and debuting them has ever been necessarily bad, aside from like a couple wrestlers like through the years that really got rushed through. But now they sign them, they sit on it for a while. Like we didn't see Julia for a while, and we had heard about Julia.
Right.
Motor City Machine Guns, that's been talked about for a couple months now, and it seems like it's moving closer to happening. I did not even realize Victory Road was tonight. Randy, what are the big matches on Victory Road? Because I gotta say, TNA, when I check in for their pay-per-views, have really been knocking it out of the park. And is Dave Googling it right now?
I'm Googling it right now. So
MLW Fightland on Saturday night.
So Randy doesn't have to. I'll do the work so Randy doesn't have to.
UFC 306 on Saturday night as well. Yeah. I think MLW Fightland, that could probably start earlier. I could see that as like a 6 o'clock start time.
All right, the Hardy Boys versus First Class, Casey Navarro, AJ Francis, PCO and Rhino versus Deathmatch Royalty, Matt Cardona and Steph DeLander. Oh, here's a good one. Zach Wentz and Mike Bailey, X Division title.
That's going to be good.
Zach Wentz, the new champ. We got Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards versus Danny Luna and Jody Threat. ABC versus Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. Joe Hendry versus Josh Alexander. That should be good. Ooh. Jordan Grace versus Wendy Chu. So there's that NXT WWE thing. And Nick Nemeth versus Moose for the TNA World Championship.
That is not a bad card.
Hammerstone and Henry.
Oh, with the ladies tag match. If the Jody Threat and her partner, Danny Luna, if they don't win the championships, they won't team anymore. Because I just watched that episode.
Oh, yeah. If Fire loses, they must disband as a team. Correct.
Another interesting thing I saw or I heard about, thoughts on maybe another AEW show on Fox.
Yeah, Aftershock is the thing that was
trademarked.
Trademarked, yes. And there's some speculation they could end up on another network. Wasn't just Fox. There was another one that was rumored too. But Fox was the one, of course, everybody's talking about because WWE obviously leaving Fox. It's possible. It's not a possibility because the problem with WWE and Fox was Fox wasn't getting the ad revenue that they wanted back out of much they were paying for WWE. But they might be able to do that with AEW because they're not going to pay as much for AEW.
Yeah, I'm I'm not sure if you can be on Warner Programming and Fox at the same time.
Right.
I don't doubt that there could be another AEW show. I don't see the need for it. But you saw they did that show with TNT after Collision where it's like all those big fail videos and like car crashes and things interspersed with like AEW stars talking. I've never watched the show. It doesn't sound like a bad idea coming off of wrestling, but I don't know how much wrestling fans are looking for that type of show. Will this be a wrestling show? Will this be wrestling adjacent?
It's tough.
I don't know if they really need another show because Rampage suffers. Collision is okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've been struggling enough with not necessarily Dynamite viewers, but like viewership overall could be better. I don't know if you want to further dilute it with another show, but I mean, I'll watch it.
Their Collision ratings were record low going up against SmackDown in college football this week. And it was interesting because I heard it on another podcast. I think it might have been Wrestling Observer, but basically, if you look at Collision, they had that main event all-star match where it was like an 8-man match where it was like
this was a Collision that was on a Friday night, but had Rampage starting immediately after it, right?
Yeah. And so what happened was that Collision main event was very low, but the moment SmackDown ended, like people turned over to watch that Collision main event bleed into Rampage, and Rampage ratings were actually higher because people were there. But then the rest of the show dipped because the way they book Rampage usually, where if you like a fun little quick hour wrestling, it's okay, but you don't feel there's nothing need you to watch. And they knew that. So once they tuned in to finish that main event, everything just dipped, right? But the overall Collision, when it went head-to-head with SmackDown, lowest ratings since the show's been on the air. And I don't think that's mostly college football, because I think if you look at SmackDown's ratings, they were the second lowest of all time because of college football. So you had the second lowest ratings of all time SmackDown and going head-to-head with AEW. But AEW's rating for that show was the lowest of all time. So, like, it just kind of tells you, like, if the WWE's hot, there's hardcores like me and you that will watch, I want to watch this, and I'm still going to watch my AEW. But that's not everybody else. Unfortunately, they're going to go, okay, well, I got enough time for one show. I'll watch this one.
And Rampage, it's almost like AEW Dark had been in the past, where you'll get a good match or two, but a lot of the times it's lesser known talent, like lower tier angles. And I'm not saying they do things bad. You probably get a good amount of top flight on Rampage. I'm sure you get the infantry. The Outrunners have to be, get some matches on Rampage, and they are good. But like you said, limited time. The older we get, the less time we have to watch TV, especially if we're not trying to do a wrestling podcast. And, you kind of pick and choose what you watch. And Rampage is the easiest one to cut out. Collision, sometimes yes, sometimes no. And, Dynamite, it does good, but it could be better.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Dynamite's ratings would be better if there was no Collision and Rampage.
Little fun fact, I don't know if you saw this in the magazines, but there is one place where Dynamite ratings are through the roof.
Where's that?
That's Wrestleville, baby.
Oh.
Read about the Northern Wrestling Federation in the book presented by Russellville.com, The Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 2. Hear the story of Roger Ruffin, the man who trained Carl Anderson, the Monster Abyss, Jordan Clearwater, Chris Harris, and Jillian Hall.
Plus 45 other short stories including Jazz, Bobby Eaton, Kamala, Thunder Rosa, Mario Mancini, Scott Casey, PJ Black, Kerry Morton, Sal Renaro, Jeremiah Plunkett, Colby Carino, Bam Bam Malone, and many others.
Get your book today at Russellville.com. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest liquor store.
All you goddamn wrestling fans out there, listen, Old Black Bart has got a book. It's called Wrestle Black Flashpoint. It's got some dadgum good stories in there about some dadgum good wrestlers.
Read stories of Dusty Rhodes, Devon Eric, Scott Casey, Sergeant Slaughter, Roddy Piper, Mr. Fuji, Ron Bass, Bruiser Brody, Mike Davis, The Grappler, and many others.
And I guarantee you one thing, that it'll be the best dadgum read you've had in a long, long time.
Get your book today at Russellville.com or on Amazon. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.